So welcome officially to our event and the Startup Club. My name is Khaled. I'm a venture builder, serial entrepreneur by profession. I've founded several businesses in the Middle East, Turkey, and partnered also with many in Europe, America, and Asia. I'm a global mentor, startup business advisor, and angel investor. I'm director of the Startup Club. The Startup Club that we are hosting today, the event is an international entrepreneur community, and our goal is always to help entrepreneurs across the world in their growth and fundraising development. So we are really very excited having this event of the deep tech companies. Meanwhile, if you have any questions, please feel free to contact me or any of the Startup Club team. We will be more than happy to give you feedback. So also at the same time, if you want to get contacts of the presenting deep tech entrepreneurs today, please send us an email and we will refer back. So as I said, we are going to use the chat function a lot in our today's event to exchange contact details and also to ask questions to the presenter. Please take a look around, get comfortable with it. So at the same time, very thrilled to welcome today our advisory panel and also all the investor and audience. I'm going now to start with introduction to our advisory panel. So Avery Lu is here.
Hello, yes, Avery here.
Thank you, Avery. If you please introduce yourself for us.
Okay, yeah, I'm Avery Lu. I'm with Aventuring Capital Group, LLC. We're based in the West Coast of the United States. We focus on very IP-focused deep tech ventures. Our 6 practice areas are in AI, robotics, life science, quantum computing, network and security, power. So what I look at is foundational IP that can be commercialized and utilized. And so our firm is kind of your new kind of VC looking for investments, but really trying to protect the inventors and the investors with the IP as an asset management. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Avery. Very great, and we are glad to have you today with us as a member of the advisory panel. Then I would like to introduce Katarina Strandberg. She's a business angel, CEO and co-founder of the Swedish Villa. Katarina, yes.
Thank
please.
you. Thank you. Well, like you said, I'm a business lawyer to begin with. So I come from the private equity sector, and then kind of moved into more focus on the venture capital and startups. Also acting as CEO of the Swedish Villa, which focuses on the marketing and communication and the business development side, so more on the customer acquisition and that part of the deep tech companies. We help a lot of companies scaling and growing, and as I'm sure you know, Stockholm is quite known for so-called unicorn factory. So we help with advising and assessing and also go-to-market strategies, I would say.
Thank you so much, Katarina, and we're very glad to have you today. So let me now introduce Kathleen Durusoy. Kathleen, are you there? If not, I can also move to Mamoon. Mamoon, smile, Khaled. Mamoon? Maybe he didn't join yet, so let's...
Can you guys hear?
Yes, Mamoon, are you there?
Yes. Nice to meet everyone here.
Thank you.
My introduction is I've been involved in the VC industry in East Coast, US East Coast for the past 8 years. Been involved in about 200 early stage investments and about 20 growth stage investments. Currently working with 2 funds, Clearbank, which is a e-commerce investor, which we invest in through at Clearbank. We invest in the growth of e-commerce businesses through a revenue share investment strategy, and also involved with Rocker, which is a venture builder and venture capital firm based in Miami, where we make early stage investments through our venture builders as a strategy, and we make growth stage investments at through our growth stage fund called Rocker Fuel. Happy to meet everyone here and look forward to getting to know the businesses better. I particularly focus on investments in cybersecurity, fintech, AI, ML, drones, robotics, VR, AR, etc. So very interested in deep tech companies.
Thank you, Mamoon. And I know that you're focused on the deep tech investment, so thank you for joining us. I'm happy now to introduce Maria Marenco. Please, Maria, give us an introduction of yourself.
Sure. Thank you for having me today, by the way, and greetings from London and sometimes also from Stockholm. So my name is Maria Marenco, and I am a business angel, and I also am a blockchain strategist and advisor. My background is healthcare informatics, so I primarily work within the healthcare sector. But due to my other hats that I wear and other involvements in different blockchain organizations, that I also overlap on the fintech side, clean tech, and other industries as well. I also act as an advisor, and I'm independent consultant for public services and private services.
Thank you so much, Maria. We're very happy to have you here. Your blockchain and fintech strategist and advisor. Thank you. I'm very thrilled to have our exciting advisory panel today, that we are going to give feedback and advice, and also to our deep tech companies today. So I'll be now moving on, and we'll start with our presenting companies now. So I think we will have now Klaus. Klaus is scanning. He has DigiShares, a blockchain-based assist management platform. And yes, Klaus, please, you can start your presentation.
Thank you. Let me just find out how to share here. Just a moment. All right. Hello, everyone. Pleasure to speak here today. My name is Klaus Gorning. I'm the CEO of DigiShares. DigiShares provides a white label tokenization platform for real estate and other types of assets. And we are among the leaders in the space globally and currently raising a $5 million seed round. Our mission is to bring automation and liquidity to the real estate market by providing real estate developers with a platform that gives them control over fundraising and ongoing management of shareholders, as well as a trading platform for their investors.
Okay.
The real estate industry is primed for disruption. Only 7% of global real estate assets are available to retail investors, whereas more than 80% of these consider real estate to be a good investment. We want to help close this gap. Also, real estate financing and management processes are slow, complex, and paper-based, and we can help optimize that. The typical size of a real estate investment is from 100,000 and upwards. We can help reduce the ticket size and make it much more accessible for smaller investors.
Okay.
Our white label solution digitizes and automates real estate processes related to financing, corporate management, and trading. We enable liquidity through our built-in bulletin board marketplace, and we digitize and streamline. Can you mute the other person speaking?
Klaus, you can unmute your speaker, mic. Yes.
All right. Yeah, so
Yes.
we digitize and streamline management of cap table shareholder meetings and dividends, and we enable developers to attract entire new segments of investors with smaller ticket sizes. The real estate market is the single largest asset class that is ripe for tokenization. The total global real estate market is $228 trillion. We have a primary focus on the US real estate market, and we believe we can extract approximately 40 basis points annually from this market. And with a significant market penetration, we are left with an obtainable market of at least 3.2 billion. Here we see 4 of our current projects, each one of them quite large, potentially longer term. The first one is a US real estate platform focused on residential real estate based on a special blockchain called Ravencoin. First project around $500,000. Second one is a Finnish real estate development project developed together with the Finnish regulator. Third one is a South African crowdfunding project, also with real estate elements in it. Quite large projects up to several $100 million. And the last one presented here is an Australian real estate project, also with properties around $1 to $2 million. Another one of our clients is actually one of the biggest real estate tokenization projects in the world, a US project with around $300 million of assets on the platform. Our team is highly experienced and covers both tech and finance. I myself have a PhD in computer science and many years experience as CEO in tech startups, including one exit in the AI space. Bjørn, our VP of Business Development, has many years experience in investment banking and hedge funds. Gabriel, the head of our new US office, has also similar experience, and we are currently hiring a new highly experienced CTO. In the right side, we see our advisory board, who are all very experienced, high-level Danish banking and finance professionals. We see a massive inflow of new leads with 5 to 10 leads per day right now. We sign up 2 to 3 new clients per month, and we expect to sign up 5 to 10 clients per month at the end of the year. We have partnered with most of the industry-leading exchanges and technology providers, and we have just organized a leading industry conference in the space, and also just issued an industry report. Yeah, so that's basically it. We are raising a 5 million seed round, and I welcome any questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Klaus. Thank you for this great presentation and this artificial intelligence space and blockchain DigiShares on the asset management platform. Thank you so much. And I would like now to maybe refer to our advisory panel to have any question, or they may have any comments. Maybe let's start with Avery.
Yeah, so my question is, how does the competitive landscape look like, and how are you disrupting the space compared to others, perhaps performing similar functions that you're trying to achieve?
If you look at competition, we see crowdfunding platforms as a potential competitor, and also real estate or asset management systems for administrating real estate functions of different types. But they don't combine the functions that we provide with the ability to trade on the platform, the ability to automate processes related to dividends and so on. And they also don't give access to the entire security token or blockchain ecosystem, where you can use real estate-backed tokens as collateral for DeFi lending, for instance. But there are other competitors within our space, of course, but only a few. I think maybe if we look globally, maybe 2 or 3 or 4 companies that are similar to us are competing in this space for a really large market. And we are probably the one that is, I would say, the most focused on real estate specifically, but also on the white label business model that we see as a really scalable and profitable business model, where we don't go direct to market, but rather provide our solution to the real estate developers or the crowdfunding platform operators, and we extract percentage of their revenues.
Okay. Thank you, Maury. Thank you, Klaus.
So
Now,
maybe I can.
yes, Mamoon. Yes, please. Go ahead.
So are you familiar with Compound Asset Management that got acquired by Republic recently? Essentially, I think they're trying to do a similar thing, which is make smaller check size investments up to $5 investments in real estate projects easy for the masses. Are you familiar with them?
Not very much, I'm afraid. I've heard the name before, but it's not we don't see them as a competitor in our industry. When we speak to clients, and we speak to five to 10 clients every day, they don't mention them. So it's not, they are not competing with us for sure.
Okay, all right. Well, that's
Thank you,
interesting.
Mamoon. Yes,
I have a
please.
question.
So do I, if I can jump in after.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah. Should I jump in, Katarina?
Yes, Katarina.
Thank you. So kind. My question is rather when it comes to real estate, if you're looking at global reach, global expansion, what about the regulatory side? Because typically everything from securities, trading, data information, tax issues, do you see that as any hindrance from being a global player when you're a startup?
Yes, it's a great question. Regulation has actually kept the market back, I would say, for the last, maybe the first 1 or 2 years. It was a market that developed really slowly, but for the last year, so it's been booming, growing really fast, and the reason for that has been that the regulatory landscape has clarified and opened up. So today it's quite easy for us, and it's becoming routine to do projects in the US, for instance, whereas I would say the Asia and Europe is still lagging behind, and it's unclear how we can represent shares, company shares, for instance, as tokens on the blockchain. So the regulations means a lot to us. We are of course we have to follow securities regulation carefully, and we try to do that, and we always operate with legal partners wherever we are. And that's been a showstopper until maybe a year ago, but it's improved a lot.
Thank you. Good answer. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, Maria.
So
Yes.
I was actually going to follow up a little bit on Katarina's question there, because I also have some legal aspects that I wanted to touch upon. I'm actually working with a project that it's a little bit similar, not necessarily on the prop tech side, but kind of like the similarities of this challenges that we might find. And I noticed in your presentation, you had different projects in, there was a Finnish project, and there was the US, South Africa, and I can't recall the fourth one. Australia, yes. So based on those different projects, because they are situated in different jurisdictions, could you give an example of some of the hindrances you might have found there?
Yeah, in Finland, we are doing the first project basically ever there. So it's part of the sandbox process with the regulator. The same is the case in Denmark, where we are based. In the UK, we are working with our legal partner is working on the two first projects, I think, through the regulator over there, also a sandbox process. In Australia, it's clarified sufficiently so that we can tokenize generally. Same in South Africa, and in South Africa the regulation is a little bit more loose, but it's sufficient. It's to the point where they can get a legal opinion, so they can proceed. I forget where the last project was, but that's sort of in the UK. In the US also, it's fully clarified, so we can proceed tokenize easily over there.
Because I think that some of the challenges that we face in the other projects will be, and I don't know if you have any similarities with it, not so much about the tech in terms of, for example, having the properties and the land ownership and different things that might perhaps be a little bit of the complex side in terms of sort of like launching it out and the progress of getting the partners jump into the platform and marketplace. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, so generally there are two ways in general to tokenize real estate. You can tokenize the legal unit that owns the property and tokenize the shares of that. SPV. The other way is to tokenize the real estate itself and sort of the title or the deed. But that's actually more complicated, and that might, I don't know if that might be what is giving you problems, because the land title registry generally is not digital to a sufficient degree that you can actually integrate with it and sort of automate their processes. So we have found that it's easier to tokenize the shares of the legal unit owning the real estate property. Mostly, generally, it's also more easy for the investors to trust that what they get, you could say, and what they invest into.
Thank you.
Yeah, hi, Klaus, this is Mamoon. I have a question about your US presence currently. I think I saw on the deck there's 9 projects or maybe nine initiatives you're working on within the US. Is that a correct number?
Yeah, actually, we signed up a few more clients, so we have 16 clients in total now, and I think maybe 9 or 10 of them are in the US. We recently set up a US Delaware LLC and hired a sales guy in New York City. But we are expanding. We want to expand over there as fast as we can. It's our biggest market.
And out of these projects that that began in the US, where are they primarily located? What city are you attracting the most clients from?
I don't know. That's a good question. We haven't sort of made any statistics over that.
I would love to continue the conversation after this.
Yeah.
This bit.
Feel free to contact me. Yeah.
All right.
Okay. Thank you so much, Klaus, and our advisory panel. Klaus, if you can leave please your contacts in the chat function.
Yep.
And of course, yeah, we will then wish you all the best for your venture. Now, I would like to move to our next presenter. Thank you so much, Klaus. Now, before that, I think I found that Kathleen Durusoy has joined us. Kathleen? Hello? Okay, so let's now move to our next.
Yeah, I'm
presenter.
on. Sorry, I was about
no problem.
30
You're
meters
there?
away on Bluetooth. Yeah, I'm here, and I did hear Klaus's presentation, and I will contact you later. I've got some people in Dubai who are doing similar things who might
Thank
be
you.
interesting partners. So
Thank you, Kathleen. Kathleen is an international venture capitalist. Could you introduce yourself, Kathleen, a little bit?
sure.
Yep.
So I mostly deal with Dubai and the US, UAE, but particularly Dubai. And I've got investors there. So I do capital raises. I also invest personally. And right now I'm starting an acquisition company in natural gas. So I've got a bunch of partners in that. So that's 300 million. And I was a healthcare executive, but I got bored with it. And my company got acquired. But yeah, I used to have 40,000 patients under me and a couple hundred physicians, and made some innovations there. We developed what's called an electronic data warehouse, whereby we could monitor all sorts of patient data, and we used a vendor to do that. And then it caused a year over year about 25 million increase in my company, and that resulted in an acquisition. And I didn't like the company that acquired us, and I decided to go. So
Yeah.
it was just kind of a big brother culture. So right now I'm looking to invest in companies outside healthcare. But if they have something like telemedicine that they're really more AI focused, then I'm interested. So investments are mostly AI focused. I don't know much about blockchain, et cetera, but always interested to learn, and that's a possibility as well. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Kathleen. We are very happy to have you with us today.
Thank you.
Now, okay, let's move to the next. Our next presenter is Erasmus Bakurut. He has a very interesting fintech, Hey Tota. It is a fintech and e-commerce solution from Africa. Logo is payment made simple. Erasmus, are you there? Hello, Rasmus. Okay, so meanwhile, we can move to the next presenter. Osama Khan is here, and he has MonoLets. It's an IoT solution for real-time supply chain data. Please, Osama, you can unmute your microphone, and I'll make you now. Yeah, and you can start presenting. And introduce yourself, please, and then you can start your presentation.
Sure. Can you hear me clearly?
Yes, we do.
Okay, great. So my name is Osama Khan. I'm the founder and CEO of MonoLets. And we have been developing this technology at UC Berkeley for the last 5 years, leveraging $2 million DARPA grant for all the technical R&D that we have done so far, and now commercializing this research work. What we are creating is, we call it real-time item level supply chain data. And the problem that we are solving is basically, how do you collect real-time item level data at scale? If you look at the current state of the art technologies that are out there in the market, on one hand, you have active wireless devices, Wi-Fi and BLE wireless modules that are either too expensive to be deployed at the item level, or they are too power hungry to be deployed at scale, because they either require frequent battery replacements. And on the other hand, you have these passive devices, which are very low cost, disposable RFID tags. But the problem with those devices is basically, if you want to collect real-time data, you either need to deploy a very expensive reader infrastructure, and it's also a proprietary infrastructure, or you need to rely on these handheld scanners, which is a very manual and labor-intensive process. And these passive devices also don't connect with the existing communication infrastructure that has been laid out over the last 40 years. For example, your Wi-Fi access points or your cell phones cannot connect with these devices. So what we have identified, what market wants, is a technology that does not require any proprietary infrastructure or any infrastructure at all, is very reliable and can support long communication range, is economically viable right at the item level, and can enable automatic alerts and processes. So the way we solve this problem, we call it full stack data pipeline, and which is shown right here. And we build this data pipeline with an active and disposable BLE digital label, which is shown here on the left. And think about this label as a postage stamp size sticker that you can attach to assets that you want to track in real time. We enable this as a label at the price point of 20 cents, which is extremely difficult to do. And the reason we can do that, we design our own custom silicon. So we design our own chips. With that silicon, we have an antenna on the label and a power source, all integrated on this postage stamp. So that's the hardware piece of the technology. And then we also provide the software, which is the firmware that is being executed on these labels that allows them to talk to each other and create scalable wireless mesh networks. And this is important for harsh RF environments to improve the reliability and robustness of the network. For example, when there is a lot of metal, when there is liquid in logistics applications, we can reliably connect to the internet. And these devices can connect with existing communication infrastructure that has been laid out over the last 40 years. So for example, your Wi-Fi access points with built-in BLE can connect with these devices, and your cell phones can also connect with these devices. So now you can imagine, once we have this real-time data pipeline deployed in the physical space, we are enabling a new source of data, which is high volume, high velocity data, and we provide API level access to this data to our enterprise customers. The use cases that we are targeting is basically supply chain digitalization, and we are looking into verticals, for example, cold chain, pharmaceutical supply chain, and asset tracking in manufacturing. And our vision is to enable chain of custody in the global supply chains right at the item level through multimodal trade and across geographies. And it's this very difficult, it's a very difficult vision to achieve, but we are working on towards that goal. And this slide is basically just to give you a quick overview. How do we differentiate with existing solutions in the market. So there are asset level trackers that are available in the market at the pallet level. So you can track pallets today with existing technology. What really differentiates MonoLets is we can also do pallet level tracking with our label, but we can go right at the box level or even at more granular level, which is right at the item level. And this is particularly important for companies in pharmaceutical space, for example. We also did a case study with one of the largest logistics player in Europe, DB Schenker, and their use case is basically for their railway spare parts inventory management system. They want to know intelligence at the push of a button, where their inventory is, what products are going in and out in their warehouse, and to find a part in relatively quick time. And they have estimated 70% lower total cost of ownership using MonoLets solution as compared to their existing solution, which is based on RFID technology. So this is very exciting news for us, and they're also our investor in our company. We estimated a $30 billion market opportunity in logistics, and also as we make more progress, we tend to focus on industrial monitoring and inventory management and retail down the road. Our business model is to give away the hardware at cost, and we would like to charge our customers based on the data that we are providing and the software services that we are going to be enabling on this platform. Literally, there are a handful of teams in the world who can execute a project like this, so we are very fortunate to be one of them. We have decades of experience building energy efficient wireless systems and full stack technology solutions. As I mentioned earlier, that we have been the bulk of the R&D has been done at Berkeley over the last 5 years, leveraging $2 million DARPA grant. This is my last slide. We are raising $3 million seed round for 18 to 24 months runway. We did an initial close at $2.1 million round in January 2021. And the purpose of the seed funding is to basically execute on the pilot opportunities that we have with customers. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you so much, Osama. Very interesting. IoT solutions are growing, and technologies nowadays. Thank you so much for this great presentation. I would like now to refer to our advisory panel. You start with Avery.
Yes. So, question, Osama. What are you mentioned several different markets that you can go after, and they're all pretty large. Which one is the initial market you want to go after and become successful at before you start kind of boiling the ocean?
Yeah, great question. So we started talking with customers, and the most traction that we are getting right now is from third-party logistics players. One of them is DB Schenker, and there are a few others that we are already talking for pilots. And within that logistics, the focus is warehouse digitalization. It's a control environment where customers wants to know at the push of a button real-time inventory. And right now, their biggest pain point is these manual scanning, the handheld scanner that they use. With connected products, they don't have to do that, and we can automate operations for them. So that's where we are seeing the most traction right now in terms of our use cases. But within these, the customers that we are talking to, other customers, they are also in food logistics, handling food, of pharma companies, and also automotive suppliers. So these are the manufacturers of automotive products. So our pilots are in these categories. So some of them are shippers of products. Some of them are end consumers. But I think I would say that we are most likely going to start with third-party logistics in the short term. And what we are seeing, since this ecosystem is so complex, the customers want to start at a warehouse, but they want to integrate. For example, the next level of pilot is going to be when the products are on the road. Or on a truck or on a train, and then final step would be on a ship or a plane, and that's how we will complete the end-to-end visibility.
Great, thank you so much. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Osama. Katarina. Okay, then we have, yes, Kathleen, do you have any question? Kathleen? Okay, then I think Mamoon.
Yes, thank you. So my
Yes.
only question is that is there any IP value to your design of the solution?
Yes, we have filed 7 patents so far, and the first 3 were filed through UC Berkeley. UC Berkeley owns the IP, and we have exclusive license to the technology. And the other 4 patents we have filed through MonoLets, and MonoLets owns that IP. For the IP engagement with Berkeley, we have signed that agreement already. And basically Berkeley owns some equity into the company, and we will have to make them some fixed milestone-based payments.
Okay, and I guess that a trailing question to Avery's question is that what geography are you more focused on, or would prioritize over in the short term?
Great. We are currently focusing Europe and US right now.
Oh. Thank you.
Thank you, Mamoon. We have Maria.
This is the thing when you're always the last person. This is like somebody already took
Yes.
that question, but yes. But good question about the IP, because that's definitely a factor that I wanted to look into. I don't have that many questions except for maybe comments, because I've seen, of course, similar being used in supply chain for pharma. I personally have worked in big pharma, and I've seen this through different products. So for me, this is something that makes total sense. And I think the particular now, what we learned through the pandemics, it's the amount of counterfeit medicines that are out there, not only medicine tests and whatnot, and what we also can see in India. I myself come from Latin America. I grew up in Sweden, but Latin America, we do have a huge problem where we have people actually accidentally passing away from the counterfeit medicine rather than the actual illness. So I would like to see this go further. So I'm definitely going to follow your journey on this.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, we do think that our biggest market is for pharmaceutical products, for sure. And especially over time, as personalized medicines are gaining traction, and cell therapies and gene therapies, then we will have tracking at the individual like drug level will become more and more relevant.
Yeah, I do have peers also working with the supply chain in terms of, you were mentioning food as well. It is obviously also something that they go hand in hand, don't they? They all sort of like overlap. It's not necessarily have to be healthcare or anything like that, but instead of what we want to know where the sources are coming from. I would like to, perhaps I wouldn't say use the word investigate, but rather than have a chat with my peers in order to understand, because at this point, just to compare perhaps the difference on their technology that they're using on the product with supply chain and yours, just to have a broader understanding. Otherwise, I will reach out to you perhaps for further questions on it.
Well, I think yeah, that would be great. And we are already talking to one of the customer, that largest cold chain company in the world handling food logistics. And we are also talking to another customer. They are actually monitoring perishable food, and one of them is like frozen fish. So those use cases definitely fall within our category. I think the pharma is really interesting because of the high value of the products, and the stakes are pretty high. But food is equally interesting and important. And given the amount of waste that exists in food supply chain, there's a huge opportunity there as well.
Yeah, and Katarina here, as regards the latter part, please feel free to reach out for me as regards food distribution and waste management.
Yeah, I would definitely.
Really interesting. Yeah.
Yes, Osama.
Yeah, Mamoon here. Osama, please do reach out afterwards. I would love to continue the conversation about your current round.
Okay, I will do that. Thank you.
Okay, so thank you so much, Osama. Please leave your contacts in the chat function, and then we will be in touch after the event. Thank you so much. So if there is any other question from the panel, I will like to move to the next presenter. Aladar.
Can you hear me?
Yes, yes, Aladar, thank you.
Okay, perfect.
And please introduce yourself and you can start your presentation.
So let me know. Can you see my screen?
Yes, we do.
Okay, thank you very much. Thanks for the invitation. Good evening, everyone. So I'm part of a brain biofeedback startup. It's a deep tech startup involved in neuroscience. What we do is basically we take the biosignals that come from the eyes and we use them to interpret the state of the brain. So you can imagine it a little bit like a pulse watch for the brain. When you think of what was happening before the pulse watch was invented, the heart was always beating and emitting signals, but people were not capturing them and not interpreting them. And since the brain is encapsulated, in the skull, and it's very hard to get in there, as opposed to, with an EEG, in the way that you can get a non-invasive brain signal is to look at the eyes and look very closely at the behavior. And I will give you a bit more detail later on how we do that. But this is our aim, and this is the functions that we do. The market is growing for biofeedback in general. So Google bought much less sophisticated signals, from Fitbit and just, let's say, regular tracking data. You see HoloLens from Microsoft. They're going into all kinds of applications, winning very big contracts, including the military for double-digit billions. And even esports, which is one of our fields, the regular players like Garmin and Polar, for example, they are releasing their own esports editions where they don't do a lot more than regular heart rate tracking, but then they sell it as esports edition, and they basically make a lot of money from it. So the biofeedback market is hot, and we have been researching in this space for years. As I said before, our founder, he had this idea this analogy to see that the brain can be similarly underserved as the heart used to be in the last 3 decades. So we see this as the decade of brain biofeedback and making this non-invasive, making it convenient. We have patented applications here. So you will see, I will get to the team later, so I will present to the team as well. But before that, on what we do is we collect brain data in 3 steps. And we want to use it to boost performance and to increase safety. And the way we do this is we already have these partners from the glasses that you see below in the bottom left corner. That you have this very high resolution virtual reality glasses and augmented reality glasses. So these can basically capture eye data at 5 to 8K resolution. And that enables you to get down to the blink rate, to fixations, to the pupil diameter changes. Basically, you can get the smallest possible signals from the eyes, which are currently not really captured and not leveraged at all. Some people know and heard about eye tracking, but eye tracking is really only focusing on gaze direction. And the direction of the gaze doesn't necessarily tell you a lot about the brain state. It tells you more about where you're looking, but it doesn't tell you about your physiological state in terms of awakeness, in terms of concentration, in terms of fatigue. So basically you can look into one direction but still be tired, and the signal value is not very high if you cannot correlate the direction data with other signals. Where is this all relevant? So when we speak about performance and safety, that we call these high performance environments like esports. For sports, we have goalkeeper training. We have military, where you have jet pilots. We have the aviation space. and where it's more about security. So there are lots of applications where you have an interesting overlap between a simulated training environment, like for example, aviation and race training, where you're training in a simulator, but then it has a real world application for, let's say, real pilots and real drivers. And so this is how we see the data that we collect to transition and become more meaningful, not just in a, let's say, smaller target group. Like, esports is not huge yet, but it's a very fast growing market, but it's a very specialized segment. But the data that we capture in the racing part of esports, we see become relevant long term in the automotive segment, because the automotive industry doesn't have a lot of accident data. And that means they cannot prepare for impact when a car is shortly before an accident. You could brace yourself, you could pull the brakes, you could prepare the airbags, you could do all those things, especially in the long term for self-driving cars, but we don't have the data. So as we are building such a platform, we can install both the high performance element, but then long term also the safety element. And the last bit that we find especially interesting is if we have data from high performance and also more regular environments, then in the long term we can extrapolate to what is abnormal behavior. And the abnormal behavior can be eye behavior, can be an indicator for brain diseases like dementia, like Alzheimer's. And that goes into the medical space, and that becomes a preclinical diagnostic tool. So this is also how we progress from something that is worn on the head to something that is there ambiently as a standalone camera. And then in the final step, we want to replace the hardware by our software algorithms, and implement those algorithms into devices that we already have today, like iPads, iPhones, but can be also the interior of a car, for example. What is our long-term game plan? So we are a startup company, and we develop technology, and it's very specialized. So if investors ask us how are we going to make money, we are going to make some money with the use cases. We will start with consulting, and we will develop the platform and earn money with it. But we see this be monetized big time via global partnership and distribution. We are currently talking, for example, to Dell Computers. They are interested in our camera plans because they are selling hardware basically at the moment, but they're interested in the software as a service component that we have. And so distribution is going to be our path to monetization. But then we see a lot of interesting partners who could be acquirers at the same time. So we see players like chip manufacturers or large tech companies or automotive companies who are already very tech intensive to benefit from brain biofeedback as a platform service. So basically, in a nutshell, we build technology that we think that very few other people can, and then we sell it to a big company as an exit strategy. As I said before, so our CEO, he has done years of research on this. He has developed a patent. He has been working both in the US and Europe on this. He has been an innovation manager before in large companies. Myself, I come from the business side. I worked for Novartis, I worked for BlackRock, and I'm more on the commercialization side of things. Our tech team is really, I would say, it's hard to assemble this group of people in a room. They would normally not stumble across each other. So we need three different skills. We need machine vision and hardware development is core for the data capturing and the signal translation. Then we need the machine learning for interpreting the signals and correlating them with a peer group. So you saw the different industries, but for example, we can benchmark different esports teams against each other. We can benchmark the racing and the car driving. So we will have a data platform that will be interesting to correlate data on. And then we need someone who can build a platform to capture the data in real time and to analyze it and to build an infrastructure around that. And we have basically scouted a team that can do this, and we're very eager to get started with them. And we also have a good advisory board who is supporting us in different kind of ways. I have a bit of a competition overview here that I don't want to go in too much detail, but in a nutshell, what is important to take away here, either the competition is not getting the level of detail of signals that we need in order to make good interpretation of what's going on inside the brain, or the solutions are invasive. So, and we want to be in the sweet spot that we are not invasive and that we capture all the signals relevant in order to make good predictions. Why does it not exist yet? As I said before, it's a very special skill set that we need. It's patented, and also we already have a very specific plan, and we already had a project before this startup started that was exploiting some of the signals that we will be using. It was for a different use case. It was for workplace safety, which is a terrible use case because it's not very well monetizable, and employers often don't really care about it. But now with this new angle for high performance and for the long-term medical angle, we think that this will be much more attractive. Then on the roadmap, yeah, basically I go into the funding round details. So we are now raising a seed round for 750K that will get us into a place where we can build the platform, including a prototype of the hardware. And then we will use another round in order to bring the scale up into the different verticals that I described before. Yeah, we had quite good success so far, even though being bootstrapped. We have built a lot of relationships in different industries. So we have a pipeline of potential customers who are actually very interested to start working with us. COVID unfortunately stopped us a little bit because there's a hardware element and there's a being on-site element. But for example, we have a soccer team who wants to work with us for goalkeeper training. We have several esports teams and esports academies who want to get started right away because for them it's critical for success. Then we also have one of our advisors who are going to bring us into Lufthansa Academy, where basically they will be using this for pilot training. So I would say the lead pipeline is quite interesting and quite rich. So you can see a bit more detail here. We've also submitted several research grants. So in spite of being so small, we are nimble, and we have been doing quite a bit with the resources that we had. But from now on, yeah, we think that this needs to go out from bootstrapping mode into a funded and yeah, seed stage mode where we can really start building and start leveraging the use cases that I described. So this is it from my side. I gather it's a maybe a bit unusual and a bit complicated case, but I'm very happy to take questions, and yeah, feel free to ask anything that comes to your mind.
Thank you so much, Khaled. This is a great deep tech cognitive biofeedback project. Thank you so much for this great presentation. I would like now to refer to the advisory panel, and maybe now I start with Maria. Please, you may have some question. I see that you have comments. Please go ahead.
Thank you. I mean, I'm excited as always when I hear this sort of thing, particularly when it comes to cognitive or any behavior techniques. I thought about there's a Swedish company that I have called Toby, and this goes back to what you were saying about eye tracking. So I was initially going to ask about it. Was wondering that I don't know what I haven't followed it for the last couple of years, but initially it was sort of like the frontiers about it. I'm not sure if you come across it, because it seems to me, looking at your pitch, that perhaps there could be some connection as a sort of collaborative partner in this, because they kind of like tap on some of the things that you do.
Yeah, thank you, Maria. We know Toby pretty well, and we know even some of Toby's advisors. The thing is with Toby, it's interesting because many people compare us to them. We have a slightly different angle. Toby is really focusing on the eye tracking part and then the gaze direction, and they also use the eye tracking in order to, for example, steer the mouse, or to get more and more into the mouseless and let's say to replace devices to a certain extent, the pointing devices. What we do more is to use the signals that come from the eye, and especially those that go beyond the gaze direction, in order to predict the state of your mind or the state of the brain. And they are not so much on that side, because Toby is more, let's say, a device manufacturer and let's say an application manufacturer, and we are a biofeedback company. So we really try to predict the current state of your brain and the future state of your brain within the next couple minutes. Toby more has a functional angle. So Toby could be a collaboration partner, but we looked into that as well. It sounds a bit conceited, but their cameras are not good enough for our purposes. So they claim they have 100 hertz, but the way they put together 100 hertz is they use 4 25 hertz cameras. And we need at least 100 hertz in order to get the blink rate resolution. So the cameras that I showed before, they're unfortunately right now super expensive. So the two that you see here, they cost between 5,000 and 8,000 euros. So these will not be the mass market cameras that we will be using in the end. They will be looking more like this, but we will start with these kind of very high-end cameras. By the way, the VR ones, they are used by NASA and by the US Air Force, and the augmented reality ones are used for remote monitoring of for remote maintenance, for wind turbines and offshore applications like that. So basically, we're using extremely high-end equipment in a different way in order to capture signals that other people wouldn't be able to capture. And so long story short, Toby looks similar, but they're doing something else, and we are aware of them, but we need different hardware in order to be able to do what we want to do. Maybe in the long term, if they go more in our direction, then we can partner with them. But for now, we have a different angle, and we have different goals.
Could you just shortly take me back to what you were saying about dementia and the diagnostics tool? So perhaps I forgot to mention that in the beginning of the sessions. I also work in mental health. So for me, of course, everything has to be conducted and very heavy. It's something that is my interest as well, because you did mention something.
Yeah, the dementia angle is the following. So if I have separate slides on that, but I just don't want to pull up a different presentation right now, but happy to follow up. The story on dementia is the following. If you look at our use cases, we have here basically 3 segments into which you can see the industries. You have high performance environments like esports and defense, You have more regular environments like e-learning and automotive. And then the health part is really when you see what happens with the brain and with eye signals in high performance environments, what happens in more regular environments. And then then you know a lot about the brain. Then you know how eyes behave in all sorts of circumstances. And then the last bit will be when you have, let's say, old people sitting in front of a screen or sitting, reading something on their iPad or, sitting in a, let's say, normal environment, but they display abnormal eye behavior. Then this is an early indicator that your brain function is somehow disturbed. So, when someone, I give you an example, there are these so-called saccades when you're reading and you have a hard time to shift your eye angles back to the 0 position. So you get stuck with reading when you go from one row to the other. So that's an early indicator that your brain function is not working in a desired way. And then that's high time to go visit the doctor. And we cannot prevent dementia, we cannot prevent Alzheimer's, but we can detect it early. And once you detect it early, you can start with preventative action. So you can start, brain training. You can start extra exercise. You can start a different nutrition plan. So there are a lot of things to do in order to maybe not heal or prevent, but in order to hinder the effects of the onset of those kind of diseases.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Maria. Thank you, Alada. May a very long, may I have question or comment, please? Avery? Okay,
sorry about that. Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, no, just Avery. Yeah. So interested to understand a little bit more about your IP. You mentioned that you have some patents filed. I guess are there a bunch other ones that you plan to file as well? And do you feel these are defensible?
For the patents, we have one patent. It's a process patent about signal extraction from the eye signals and the interpretation on the state of the brain. So it's a process patent which is rather rare. We have managed to receive it. Where we see is the more, let's say, the bigger value is in the trade secret of how we will put together the data platform, and how we will interpret and correlate and compare. Because as an investor, people might ask themselves, wow, this is a small startup, they're up for a big task, they're entering different verticals and trying to get different data sources. It's quite a tedious and let's say it's a big task. But if we put together this kind of data, this is going to be a database that not many people will have. And then, or we say that no one will have a database like this. And the way we interpret the data, the way we capture it, analyze it, and then feed it back, that is going to be, let's say, our biggest asset. And then it's not so much in the patent, and I understand that you're looking for defensible IP, but it's going to be more, let's say, an implicit know-how and a platform that is going to be very hard to replicate, because of the way we construct it and the way we go about partnerships and the experts we work together with. It will be quite unique. In terms of filing more patents, what we will do is we already have now these research collaborations I mentioned. So in the medical space currently, we are submitting proposals for EU grants together with University of Basel and University of Lucerne. and we are going to start on the remote monitoring of elderly people. And if in that realm of applications we come up with something that is defensible, then we will definitely patent it. But we have to start with the work, and we have to work together with the scientists of those institutions in order to, let's say, get to another use case and get to another set of, yeah, probably processes. It's probably not going to be an application per se, but it's going to be more another process in another vertical that we can get a patent for, similarly like it happened in the first time.
Okay, thank you very much. I'd be interested to talk more offline. So.
Okay, yeah, I will share my details. Happy to.
Thank you, Avery. Now I think we move to Kathleen or Mamoon. If you have comments, please, and questions.
Yeah, I guess I had a similar question to Avery to learn more about the IP, and separately maybe we can talk later about the automotive angle. I saw on your deck that you got approached by an automotive industry player. Maybe you can tell us a little bit about that now, and then we can dig deeper later.
Yeah, that was interesting. The automotive approach. We thought that it would come much later in our journey, but funnily enough, we're relatively small as a startup, but we on our LinkedIn presence, we got quite a bit of positive feedback, and one automotive supplier from Western Europe, they approached us based on our LinkedIn posts, and they are building something called the cockpit of the future. And in the cockpit of the future, they want to integrate biofeedback signals more heavily. And the reason is because, as I briefly mentioned before, self-driving cars, they will have fewer and fewer signals to rely on. So basically, they will still look at your eyes. So these days, in the Mercedes and in the BMWs, they are already looking at the eyes, but they are only looking at lid closure, the per close index. So this per close index, it tells you how far open your eye is, and if your eye is almost closing, then you're almost falling asleep, and then they correlate that with your driving behavior, and this is not really very good. It's relatively rough as a sign, and it's relatively late, because when your eyes are almost closing, then you're like, you could pretty soon crash into the tree. So what we do basically, when we have much higher resolution, and we have different, let's say, approaches to make sense of the data that comes from the eye. So let's say when you look at the blink rates, and you have a, let's say, relatively normal blink rate, but suddenly your blink rate changes, you start blinking a lot, but it doesn't mean that your eyes are closing already, but that something has changed. It could be stress, it could be sleepiness, it could be other things. But then you take the next measure. Then you look at, okay, how have the pupil sizes changed? Then you take, if it's in the car, you can even look at the eye with an infrared camera. You can look at how has the blood flow around the eyes changed. So we really are eye physiology specialists, and we will capture, so to say, every possible micro signal that comes from the eye, and then being able to give you an informed decision on a much more granular level, rather than saying, oh, your eyes are almost closed, you must be very tired.
Okay, I have one last maybe question, is that how do you essentially want to be a hardware company or a software company down the line? What's the long term?
That's an excellent question, and I was sort of waiting for it, because many investors, they tend to have an issue that hardware is involved, and everyone loves software as a service businesses, of course. We have, let's say, a path where we see ourselves becoming a software business. But in order to get there, we need the hardware to capture the signals, and we need the hardware for the ambient tracking. So we start with these kind of glasses that I mentioned, and those are I like to say semi-invasive, because it's not an electrode like an EEG that gets plugged into your brain, but it's also, you still have to wear it on your body. And the second step is that you have a camera. This is sort of a webcam. It can look like this, or it can look like a webcam. And then the third part, once we have captured enough data and we have built algorithms on the platform that can give meaningful feedback, then we have a level of efficiency where we can implement this into devices that already exist. So this is our last step will be software, and then it will be so efficient, because it's also a memory and capacity and calculation question. So it needs to run so efficiently and so smoothly, and the platform needs to be so, let's say, finished and so functional that it can be transferred to something that is already there. So in the beginning, hardware is a must. Unfortunately, we don't do it because it's fun and because we love to tinker with hardware, but this is our way to make it a software company in the long run.
Got it. Thank you for answering. I would love to continue the conversation offline.
Happy to.
Thank you, Mamoon. Thank you, Alagar. Right, deep tech venture. Please leave also your maybe contacts in the chat function, and also, of course, after the event, we will have the connection further. Now, there is no further question. I can move now to our next presenter. Yes, when we talk about blockchain technology, I think we will not, a growing cryptocurrency world and technologies. And today we have one of the presenter who has cryptocurrency platform. Hussein Fleur, are you there?
Yes, thanks.
Thank you. So you can start your
for,
presentation.
And the mind who has scheduled this event and meeting for me. I very much appreciate your board of advisors and your investors on this event. I get a chance to represent myself and the opportunity I'd like to bring to your attention. Just to give you a big background of myself, I'm an investment banker with an advanced degree in LLM, Master of Law in International Commerce.
Hussein, we have any voice problems. Could you share the screen, please, Hussein? Could you share your screen?
I earlier in banking
Yeah. Okay.
Actually, do you have my face?
So now we have, yes. Now we have your screen.
Did you hear me? Yeah. Did you hear me so far?
Yes, we heard. Please, if you can talk, slowly, and then so that we don't lose the voice.
All right, very nice. So I am an investment banker and trader, and I decided to change my path to entrepreneurship, and I worked on crypto. I worked on a technology and an idea is called CryptoTrader Community, CTC. It's a very unique platform in crypto space. The first thing I'd like to bring to your attention is the most important concern when people have when they come to crypto exchanges. Like the concern is if my money is somewhere else, somewhere safe and secure. So that's the question. And that's one of the most important things that I will address in this presentation. And there are a lot of concerns, questions that with my technology, and the idea all will be resolved. So what we do is basically we enable traders to buy and sell with full transparency, and that's the first and most important thing here. That's one of the features that a lot of people would like to come to join our platform, because they have the data of the buyer and the seller. Basically each what makes us different is the fact that when the buyer joins the platform, he basically, with a very secure password and way, he basically has the information of the seller. He knows the name of the seller, the first and the last name. He has the data of the past transaction of the seller. The second thing and the third thing, whether the seller is trusted, like 5-star seller, 4-star seller, the buyer has the comments and the reviews of the past clients and the buyers of the seller as well. So basically the buyer has the information of the seller as well, and the seller has the buyer of the buyer, and that data, which is very transparent, enable the traders have a very secure and friendly transaction. It is very secure. That's the most important thing here, because family offices, individual investors, institutional investors, all want the security. They all care about the security. If you just look at the exchanges in the past, they have whether they got hacked or the founders have like stolen some money. Like these examples are very huge, like in huge amounts of money they did. Like even Binance got hacked like 2 years ago, right? That's what's called a regular exchange, right? But here we have a peer-to-peer cryptocurrency exchange, which is very secure. The only thing that you as a trader and my client should be concerned of is the fact that just to keep your phone or laptop somewhere secure. Just make sure that no one is gonna steal your phone, because if someone is gonna come and get your phone, then he's gonna log in, he's gonna get your password, he's gonna log in the platform, then he can basically transfer the money, transfer the coin or whatever you have in your wallet to another address. All right. So then that's one thing which is very important. So we get hacked, not at all, no robbery, no stealing. That's very secure. And that's very friendly. Like we have it's like a social media. You go like you see like Telegram, WhatsApp, you see Facebook and other social media platforms. You interact with people in a very friendly way. Like it is as well in our platform. You can communicate with them with a solid data which we have, which we will share to you. That's something which you can see in our competitors' data and platform. We have a very secure and safe and honest data from our clients, and we share it to all people, and they can see. It's like a marketplace, actually, and that's one thing I like to bring to your attention, which makes us very different than regular exchanges as well as peer-to-peer exchanges. All right, the value proposition here is the low trading fees, unique features, trade security with mitigation services, and staking. So we have these four things which makes us different than other competitors. The competitors are Coinbase, which I will address on that in 7th page here. Here we have competitors here, Coinbase and Kraken and others. They are, so as you see, Coinbase charges 1.4% trading fee. Kraken, like for example, 0.36%, which is high actually. We have the lowest trading fee in the marketplace, which makes us very different. It's competitive, and it's a competitive fee for the traders. And we bring, first of all, like new traders, like young traders or people who basically know the crypto for 1 year or so, and they like to join the crypto, they like to buy or sell and something like that. That's the clients we are interested in. And for more sophisticated traders with huge amount of money, we like to have a very personalized meeting, like a face-to-face meeting, wherever they are based. we have representative all around the world as well. So as you see, the market valuation of the crypto, that's crazy. If you just think of crypto market, like just 4 months, 4 or 5 months ago, it was $1 trillion, and now it's like 2 times more. How it goes is that's insane. And it always goes up and down. One thing I'd like to address here is the concern of some traders and investors, the fact that the Bitcoin price is down. So then they are not interested to invest. So every down, every down has up, and every up has down. That's what it is in the shares and the crypto market. So then I like to say that I'm very confident that the price will go up, and these things are not any barrier or anything like that. Just for investment in a crypto exchange platform. Countries such as India, China, all are ready to draft regulations for cryptocurrency. The adoption of cryptocurrency is crazy and insane. Like in United States, it's like the last thing was like 35% of young people. Like they have like some sort of coin or USDT in their account. And lack of security. So that's what I have addressed in the first place, right? The lack of security is just crazy, like hacking, stealing, robbery, and such things, like in regular exchanges. That's insane, and that's what is absolutely impossible in our platform. I like to have a chance talking about the security and regulation. In terms of the regulation, our platform is absolutely universal. So what it means is the fact that that's like a universal model. We can work everywhere in the world, like United States, Europe, like Asia, Australia, like Latin, or wherever. Like we don't have any restriction in terms of the clients. So it is very important. It is because we are a peer-to-peer cryptocurrency exchange. It's a very secure way of the transaction. So it is not what like regular exchanges such as Binance have. Like they have a lot of like regulation restrictions because of because they are basically and technically controlling the money of the clients, like billions of dollars from clients. So that's very insane if you just think about it for a second. There is huge doubt and a serious concern into like these big regular crypto exchanges in terms of their security and like hacking and robbery. And there are news from small or big traders that their money got like reduced in some way from their wallets. And these things happen, but it is not. But it doesn't happen. It just doesn't work actually in our platform. The way it works is basically the buyer sends the buyer has the data of the seller. Once a buyer likes the seller, he basically analyzes the seller info. The price is fine and everything is good. Then the buyer send the money. The money doesn't go to the seller's account. It goes to the escrow account, and then the seller basically release the coin to basically to the buyer account, and then we release the money from the escrow to the seller's account. So that's the way it works. So here I like to say the market. I already talked about just address that as well in the past talk. Just so the market size of the crypto is very huge, and there are a lot of analysis out there as well. It's called control exchange. So basically, the exchange sets the price based on aggregated price feeds that is revised like time to time, and order books cannot be viewed by publicly as well. And we have like a number of levels of KYC as well. So it is very important to make sure that the clients are validated already, because the buyers and the sellers need to make a trust based on a very secure, safe, and already analyzed and validated data. So that's what we have. As you know, GDPR is very important. I did law, and I'd like to tell you that a lot of companies in the UK, Europe, and international companies paid a lot of money just because of GDPR, lack of GDPR, and it's, the law is important, and we always follow the law. So here there are a few features that I like to tell you. The key features here are order book, view portfolio, buy, sell instantly, options to trade 5 coins in the market, report generation, and multiple fiat currencies payment. We have that's one thing as well. We don't have just crypto. We are also a fiat currency exchange platform as well, in a traditional sense. Good. Here you can have a look at the exchange screens as well, how it looks like when you join the platform. So the business model, which is very important question that some investors ask. Maybe one of the most important questions, like, what is your business model? So here we go, the business model. The crypto exchange will charge 0.2% as a transaction fee. So I like to get back to the 7th page here. A Coinbase, we have the Coinbase here. It is 1.4%, Kraken like 0.36%, and the other one 0.25%. But we have the fee of 0.2%. That's the lowest in the market. And so basically, we are open to basically other companies who like to list their token or coin. So basically, we have listing fee. There is an upfront fee as well as the commission fee. The other fee is trading pass and a staking fee as well. So here there is an example of, like, if we have 1 million traders, and then what's the revenue of the first month of our cryptocurrency exchange, which is like in $50,000. It is just a cash flow statement. I'm not sure if you guys can have a look, but it is based on the previous analysis. Basically, in the first month, if we have 1 million traders and we have a few of transactions, like let's say 25 to 50 transactions, then the fee trading fee is 50K, and then so on. We get to basically the 5th month, which if we get to 7 million, then we have the basically we have an additional thing, which is the trading fee, the commission, which is 50K, but in total it is 350K. I would be happy to share the pitch deck to potential investors and advisors. Here, I think I have this presentation. That's the end of the presentation, and
okay.
Yeah, I'd like to
thank you. Thank you, Hussein. Thank you so much for your presentation. And it's good to know about the crypto exchange platform. Before I'm going to the advisory panel, I have also one question here. You said you are based in UK, and you mentioned the competition of like Coinbase, Kraken, those are in US. Any idea about what are the competition in UK or maybe in Europe that you may have as crypto exchange platforms?
There are a number of basically we enforce like basically like clients in United States and Asia and Europe. So we are a global firm in terms of the clients, like whether there are that it is very important. We have a number of basically competitors in Europe as well. But I would say the competitors of the company would be basically they are basically based in the United States. I had a number of names in my mind, but this yeah, like maybe yeah, maybe eToro as well. I think this company is based in Europe as well.
Yeah.
But we have
Okay.
the lowest
Yes, I think.
we have the lowest fee and the best business model, which works internationally. The biggest competitors are based in United States, and we compete with them.
Good. So there are so many, not so many competitors in Europe. Most are from US. Now I would like to start with our advisory panel. Yes, Maria. Maria, are you there? Yeah. Okay, please, Maria, if you have any question or comment, please unmute your mic. Yeah.
It's just I had a bit of difficulty of hearing. There was a lot of. Thank you. Thank you. I had a difficulty hearing the presentation from time to time. So there, I don't think it will be here to ask some questions there. So I'll have to let the ball to somebody else on the panel.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, Maria. Avery.
Yeah, I didn't have any questions at the moment.
Thank you, Avery. So from advisory panel, no more question. There is we have Kathleen. Yes, Kathleen. Anyone from the audience, please also feel free. You can also send a question to the chat function. Very good. So we don't have any further question. Hussein, just leave your contacts, the chat function, and so that if there's any further question from the audience later on, they can contact you directly. I think here there is one question from Akshit Sandoja. He asked, does the startup want to sell multi-currency in a single currency region of Europe? It's for you, Hussein. You understand the question?
Yeah. I'd like to repeat the question here for everyone. Does this startup want to sell a multi-currency in a single currency region of EU? So we support different fiat currencies such as Euro, USD, as well, and pounds. We support strong currencies at the time, and maybe in the future we get to China as well. But right now we support Europe and America at this time in terms of the fiat currencies, and in terms of the crypto currencies, we don't have any restriction. We start from 5 main crypto basically crypto coins that basically traders are familiar with, and then we start from there and we add more coins and tokens into the platform from the companies across Europe, America, and Asia.
Okay, thank you, Hussein, and thanks, Akshit, for your question. Actually, yeah. So we do have our 2 entrepreneurs. They should be presenting for us today. Mark Arthur from Denmark, and also we have also Erasmus Accord from Africa, Fintech and e-commerce solution. But they actually apologized for their own reason. They had season influenza, so we will be, of course, having them in our next deep tech event in the near future. I will let you know all of the details. At the end, I would like very much to thank advisory panel, all the audience that joined us today. And before we leave, maybe I can leave any comments from advisory panel, or they would like to say something. Then we close our event. Please, Maria, your comments, the event, I'd like to say.
Thank you for inviting me again. It was a pleasure. And there's a couple of definitely of the innovators that I would like to continue the conversations with offline. So we'll make sure that I also put details there, how we can proceed from there.
Thank you, Maria. It was great having you, and definitely will be, of course, having you in our next Deep Tech event. Avery Lu from US, please, Avery, any last comments?
Thank you, Abdul, for inviting for this event. Enjoyed the conversations and the presentations by the startups. I think great lineup, and looking forward to seeing future ones as well. And I think there are several that are interesting here that will have offline conversations as well. So and I'll leave my information in the general chat if anybody feels like reaching out to me afterwards. Thanks.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you. It was great having you all the advisory panel on this Deep Tech Investment Forum. When now I'm actually trying to then we'll have our next platform, and then we'll let you know, keep you on the Startup Club informed and updated. If anything from the audience, any message, please feel free. Before we are now coming to the end of our event today. Yes, and then of course on the chat function you have all the details, contacts, and exchanging of the network. Thank you so much all. It was great and for our event, and definitely will let you know, as I said, all the updated information about our deep tech investment. Thank you so much, and have great evening, great day all, because we have from all over the world. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.